What's going on, everyone? Cell here with an overview of the Ancestor League and expansion to the game. So, PoE 2 stuff, big news on that. Closed beta next June. It'll be a separate game rather than an expansion like they originally said. But for now, looking at some PoE 1 stuff with the Ancestor League and Trial of the Ancestors expansion. So, let's jump right into it. Not going to watch the video, but you can come to pathofexile.com/ancestor to see this page. So, 16 Atlas Keystones. New Guardian and Chieftain. Chieftain has been apparently completely reworked. I'm ready to look at that. 14 new support gems. And they look pretty big, the 7 they showed off. And they're bringing Sanctum back. So, that's amazing. So, the League is based around going into the afterlife and competing in a tournament against and alongside Karui warriors. So you assemble a team, you set people up. It's kind of an auto battler that your character participates in, as Chris put it, and it looks very different than a lot of things in the game, which they often do. With things like Blight, tower defense in Path of Exile. Now it's kind of an auto battler in Path of Exile. So silver coins are back, but a little different, of course. Creates a portal to the Halls of the Dead. Use currency to participate. So apparently 1 coin per round in a tournament. So let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't know. Chris mentioned that. But yeah, uses currency in the Halls of the Dead to participate. I don't know how stringent of, if it costs a coin to create the portal, or if, clicking a coin and it won't use it will make a portal. Not sure, but that could be some kind of cost consideration there. Whether you want to do one at a time or save up a bunch. And then here's a bit of the UI kind of look. You can set up various strategies and things depending on what you're going for. And then you'll earn favor with various tribes and be able to purchase buffs like this idol or field item, for example. You'll be able to use this in the midst of combat and recruit team members and all of that jazz. You'll earn favor with various tribes, I believe they call them. Yep, tribes. And then eventually you will earn favor to purchase rewards with. Adorn your soul. So this is appearing to be one of the bigger rewards for the League. Tattooing your passive tree. So these will change attribute nodes on the tree. So the travel nodes or the notable, depending on what the tattoo is. So taking a look here, replace a small strength passive with 8 fire res. Or this dex 1 for 2 movement speed. 2% movement speed. I don't know about most of the rest of these, so let's check them out. Place a small strength passive skill. Grants trigger level 20 summon Spirit of Itula from Act 5/10. No, I think just Act 5. On taking a savage hit from a unique enemy. Limit 1 loyalty tattoo. So loyalty tattoo of Itula. Then what do we got here? Yep, I did see this one. Small intelligence adds lightning damage. This is global, so not to spells, not to attacks, but to everything, including things that are neither spells nor attacks. Secondary damage like heralds and whatnot. Honored tattoo. Ooh, small attribute passive grants 1% increased reservation efficiency. That's pretty nice. Honored tattoo of the wise man. This is one of the big ones. Limit 1 notable tattoo per attribute, so 1 strength, 1 int, 1 dex. Place an int notable passive with +1 to level of all intelligence gems. That's pretty great. One potential downside with this is that if you are an int focused character and you're on the north side of the tree, that's not where those 30 int nodes are. Those are more towards where classes that need it. So further towards the southern half of the tree, where the northern half will have strength and dex nodes for the most part in those notable slots. Then we have omens. You can carry omens in your inventory, and you'll consume a max of 1 per zone. So this is kind of a meme one that Chris was memeing on. On death, omen gets consumed, and in this case creates a portal. So it's cast on death, but in your inventory. This one, upon reaching 25% life, omen is consumed and flasks recover all charges. I don't know how much I'm into this idea. I think it's going to feel kind of clunky, but interesting that they're experimenting with this. Then we have Omen of the Soul Devourer. On leveling up, this Omen is consumed and you gain Soul Leader. So this could be great for leveling, for example. Hang on, is that permanent? That much I wonder. You could use this at the right time and definitely blow up some bosses, if so. Upon using an Orb of Chance on an item, it will become unique if possible, and this Omen will be consumed. So, Trash to Treasure is back, basically. It's not as good on some bases as others, but it'll definitely be amazing on some bases. What do we have here? Hinakora's Lock. Ah, yes, new currency item. Allows an item to foresee the result of the next currency item used on it. Modifying the item in any way removes the ability to foresee. I wonder what that means exactly. Like, can you just hover a bunch of currency over it and then see, which one you want to go with? Or that's my question for the first line. And my second one would be, if you modify an item, can you use another lock on it? Or is it permanently barred from that ability? That much I wonder. Guess it depends on, or that'll probably determine how common these are, given that the limitations and whatnot make it more common, but if it's super powerful, it'll obviously be pretty rare. And I suspect that it might be. Exclusive unique items. So one of these was shown off, or all of these were shown off on stream, but I'll go over them. Bound Fate. Alternating buffs, everybody's favorite. Half of these are good, half of these are bad. But the bad ones can be mitigated. So, every 5 seconds, gain one of the following for 5 seconds. So you always have exactly one of these active. Well, unless you can do like temp chain shenanigans, but won't get into that. Your hits are always critical strikes. Hits against you are always critical strikes. Attacks cannot hit you. Attacks against you always hit. Your damage with hits is lucky. Damage of hits against you is lucky. So some of these, again, can be mitigated. If you don't have evasion, you don't care about always getting hit, because you probably were anyways. If you're crit immune, you don't care about crits against you. So, potentially pretty big item here, if you can benefit from the upside without being hindered too much by the downside. Amulet here with no level restriction. If you're on low life or mana flask respectively, apply all their recovery instantly. So, potentially really big if you want to go a low life or low mana build and benefit from some really massive flasks. Seems like an interesting, if filler-ish, unique item. Kitava's Hunger. Big max life roll on the stream. We saw like 917, so there's a range here, and it seems to go quite high. To max life if there are no life modifiers on other equipped items. Of course, remember that not everything that gives life... How do I want to phrase this? Just because a mod does not give life does not mean it's not a life mod. Life regen is a life mod, but doesn't give you life. So, one thing to consider. Sanctum is coming back. In maps, you'll randomly drop an itemized tome, which is a full Sanctum run. So these are tradable. You can start them with some relics. You can take them out after each floor, I believe. So basically each floor is a checkpoint by the sounds of it, in which you can pull out the Sanctum, and that'll snapshot all of your relics and stuff for the run, all of your boons, all of your detriments, I forget what they're called, afflictions, and your stats like resolve and all that jazz. And then you can trade them to other people, as we can see here. So relics have also become tradable, and the unique ones have been changed, because sanctified relics are not a thing. You also have to do the second phase of Lycia for every Sanctum run in order to count it as being finished and get the rewards, according to Chris on the live stream. So let's look at this one. I haven't seen this updated yet. Drops 2 additional forbidden tomes. Okay. Those would be other relics, I believe. Wait. No. Those are the actual full runs. I see. Got it. That's pretty good then. Rooms are unknown on the Sanctum map. Cannot be used with forbidden tomes below level 75. Destroyed when applied to a Sanctum. Yep. Yeah, let's see some of this. They made defenses apply to Sanctum, so it's no longer like as one-dimensional as it used to be. Resolve Aegis recovers 15% faster while not losing Resolve. 9% increased Resolve recover. So Aegis is basically like Energy Shield for your Resolve, and that'll be based on your character's Energy Shield. You also get Resolve loss reduction from armor and evasion chance from evasion. They're adding Keystones for, it seems like, most of the League mechanics, and even some non-League mechanics. So, for example, Expedition one here. Let's see if I can click this one. Is this the first one? Yes. Extreme Archaeology. 200% increase explosive radius in your maps. 100% increase placement range. Expedition monsters in your map spawn with an initial 10% of life missing. Number of explosives is 1. So instead of dropping a bunch of different expedition explosives, you drop one very big one, and you're good to go. Everything comes out at once. All of the remnants are applied at the same time, and all in all, this will make Expedition, forgot the name of it, a lot faster to do, because you don't have to place so many different things. Next one is, if I can click that again, Lucid Dreams of all side areas in your maps are no longer corrupted. So you find a Vol side area, you can craft it. They also updated the pool of mods. It seems like they made them more lucrative for corrupted side areas, which is good because they're kind of lackluster. And there's even at least one unique side area coming. And here's an example of the Maven. This is a great one, and one I think a lot of people have been hoping for. The Maven summons 1 to 3 additional bosses when witnessing map bosses. Modifiers to final map boss in each map also apply to these summoned bosses. So that the way that's worded, sometimes you get an effect that is beneficial for you in terms of loot that only applies to the final map boss. So to have 2 to 4 final map bosses instead of 1 is a big boon. I also wonder if it seems like the intention is to have Maven be able to witness multiple bosses at once. At least I hope that's the case, because that would be great for actually farming regular map bosses instead of just like formed or hidden invitations, for example. New metagame rebalance. So they don't have all of them listed here, but I'll talk about the ones shown on stream as well. New support gems, there's 14. They showed off 7 on stream, and only 2 are listed here so far. Frigid Bond. It happened, or is used for link skills, and is a bit of a meme. It was kind of hilarious looking, but who knows, maybe the numbers are good and this becomes a real thing. This also applies to your link targets. I mean, primarily, really. Chill between you and your linked targets. Supported skills deal cold damage over time. So, yet another cold dot skill, but you need something to link to, be that a party member or a minion or whatever else. I'm curious to see if some type of minion build will come out of this. Then we have returning projectile support. So, level 1 here. Projectiles from supported skills deal 70% less damage when returning. This is what is called foreshadowing. Vengeance Cascade is basically going away, guaranteed. I'm assuming, at least. Maybe they'll leave it in with a similar damage penalty, but to have your Anoint be equivalent or significantly better than a full link is a little busted. So, for example, Vengeance Cascade is 2 to 3 times as strong as this because they deal full damage when returning, but they don't come with innate pierce. In this case, projectiles pierce all targets when returning. Oh, it's only when returning. Yeah, that makes sense. Never mind, I misread it. So yeah, Vengeance Cascade is multiple times stronger than this. This is level 1, of course. We don't know how much the negative damage multiplier will scale down to at level 20. So that has some degree of impact, but it's definitely not going to be as big of a deal as Vengeance Cascade. Another one they have here is Warcry damage, making your Warcries deal damage. A support they showed off was a Warcry support gem that will cause your Warcry to apply corrupted blood to nearby enemies. And that sounds pretty sweet. So I'm curious if a build comes out of that as well. And then the big ones. We have some class changes. Guardian and Chieftain this time. So, Chris showed these off briefly, but this will be me looking at them for the first time. The Guardian update. Let's look at this one pointer over here, Harmony of Purpose. Elemental damage with hits dealt by allies between you and linked targets is lucky. Allies between you and linked targets. Allies between you and linked targets have +5 all max res. Enemies between you and them cannot apply ailments. Very interesting. I guess that probably doesn't apply to your linked target then, which makes it feel kind of awkward. I'm a solo self-hunt player, so I don't know much about links in general, and I think most people probably don't, if we're being honest. Radiant Faith. Armor equal to 25% of reserve mana to you and nearby allies. Grants max ES equal to 10% of your reserve mana to you and nearby allies. So, I think the armor value used to be from life reserved. I kind of like this change, but and also some number tweaking, of course. Unwavering Faith, moving on over to 2 points behind that. Orders from your skill grant 5% increased recovery rate of life, mana, and energy shield to you and allies. Interesting. There's potential for an RF Guardian here, I'm seeing. Whoops, I keep closing this whenever I pause to clear my throat, which was a needlessly gross cadence to deliver that line with. But anyways, Time of Need, another 1 point over here. This used to give reduced curse effect on you and recover some life. I think it was 30%. Now regenerate 100% life every 4 seconds over 1 second. Every 4 seconds, remove curses and elemental ailments from you. So, similar deal, a little different. Check out the last 1 pointer here, Bastion of Hope. This used to be an alternating, like, every 2 seconds or 4 seconds something gained 50% attack block, and then like a flat amount of spell block, something like that. Now it's if you've attacked or cast a spell recently, you have chance to block attack or spell damage recently. You and nearby allies, important to note for teammates or minions. And 25% of each, if you can find a build that'll attack and cast something every 4 seconds, that's pretty big, honestly. Checking out Radiant Crusade, another 2 pointer in the bottom right here. Grants level 20, Summon Sentinel of Radiance skill. 10% of damage from hits is taken from your Sentinel of Radiance's life before you. Level 20 Sentinel of Radiance. How is that going to be for an early game pick, I wonder? Because you can pick that up in Act 3, no problem. So I'm very curious about how that'll perform in the early game especially. Nice little defensive benefit here as well. I wonder what kind of upkeep they'll have, and whether or not they'll be dying or what they do even, really, I guess. Then we have Unwavering Crusade beyond that. 25% chance to trigger a level 20 Summon Elemental Relic when you or a nearby ally kill an enemy. So this is more clear focused. I'm not typically the biggest fan of that type of effect for this type of class, but I'm curious to see what that does. I'm assuming it's like the Holy Relic, so maybe it's more clear speed focused since it is reliant on kills happening. So let's move on to Chieftain now. That was all pretty interesting, but as a non-summoner, non-party player, I can't really speak too much about that. And Chieftain has apparently been completely reworked. Again, Chris alluded to this flashing on the screen, but I have not taken a proper look at it yet, so let's do it. I did notice this one, so I'll talk about this one first. Hinekora, Death's Fury. 1-pointer here, or 2-pointer, I guess. 1 lab to grab this. Enemies you kill have a 5% chance to explode, dealing 500% of their maximum life as fire damage. That is a small chance to explode, but a massive amount of life as fire damage. Like, way more than most effects. So, pretty insane there. Tessalio, Cleansing Water. Modifiers to fire resistance also apply to cold and lightning resistance at 50% of their value, unaffected by Ignite. So instead of just giving you a bunch of flat fire res and some recovery benefits, I think it was, I do kind of like this. You still have the Ignite immunity, which is kind of a nice bonus, but the fire and cold res, or the cold and lightning res, rather, from scaling fire res, is going to be pretty nice, I think. And that also synergizes well with the next point, which is that modifiers to max fire res also apply to max cold and lightning res. That's pretty amazing. That is, whatever that jewel is called. Melding of the Flesh, that's what it's called. Without a penalty. I mean, the penalty is you have to spend 4 ascendancy points on it, so that admittedly is a pretty big deal. But this is comparable to Juggernaut, because when you can crank your max res that much, that's a big deal. And if you can potentially like shift some damage to other things, then that'd be a big deal as well to get around things like penetration and late game bosses. But yeah, big maximum resist here. Like, this could be, plus 5 to 8 cold and lightning max res. So, big potential there. I think it might fall a little short in today's defensive environment, but again, we'll have to see. I still have most of the ascendancy to look at, so that'll determine how good this is as well as a potential 4-point pickup. Let's look at this one over here. Moon's Presence. Recoup 10% of damage taken by your totems as life. Interesting. Totems regenerate 1 life per second per 4 of your life recovery per second from regeneration. Totems taunt enemies around them for 4 seconds when summoned. That will synergize with a new totem support they're adding that I don't fully remember the details of, but the taunting will benefit that. Interesting that, when your totems get hit, you'll recoup that as life. Yeah, sounds pretty interesting as an avenue of recovery. Let's check out this other 2-pointer here. Namahu Flames Advance. Non-unique jewels cause increases and reductions to other damage types in a large radius to be transformed to apply to fire damage? That seems very interesting. That is like, I love these new effects they're putting on the ascendancies, because that gets me hyped about the possibilities. It's just, any jewel is becoming a radius jewel that used to be a unique jewel, but even better than the old unique jewels. So yeah, that's amazing. Let's check out this one. Nearby enemies have no fire resistance against damage over time while you are stationary. That one's a little restrictive. I feel like they could have gotten rid of the while stationary line and it would still be okay, I guess. Like, you can push into the negative somewhat easily these days, even against pinnacle bosses. So, yeah, I don't know how much use this one will see for, like, you know, Righteous Fire build, let's say. Stationary, you tend not to want to be stationary that much, but if you're spamming fire traps or something, I could see that happening. And now probably into some melee-focused stuff. For a strength, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the Kuri names that I don't know how to because I'm just going to butcher them. Trigger level 20. Okay, I guess I have to. Ta was chosen when you attack with a non-vol slam or strike skill near an enemy. It's kind of awkward. They have to be near an enemy for, like, testing purposes mainly, but yeah, I guess we'll see how that pans out. And then Tukohama War's Herald behind that. Skills from equipped body armor are supported by level 30 Ancestral Call and level 20 Fist of War. I don't think there are any skills that will use both of those because it has to be either a strike or a slam, and I don't think there's any skill that's both because that doesn't make sense. But that seems really good, you know? They updated this. That's what it was. Non-vol slam or strike skill near an enemy. And hang on a minute. I wonder what the cooldown of this is. If it's still 1 second, that'd be kind of unfortunate, but who knows, you know? Yeah, skills from equipped body armor. Just a straight-up free support gem. I kind of like it. All in all, I think there's some pretty good stuff here. The class has some refreshed identity, and I'm excited to see about possibilities, especially with Namahus. I think I'll go into my theory crafting looking at Namahus and wondering what I can do with the rest, as opposed to, like, oh yeah, I want to get an extra support on my body armor, and yeah, sure, I'll pick up this. No, this is the thing I want to build around, especially potentially for, like, a Righteous Fire type build. You could pick up Voloko, Namahus, and Ramako as a potential option. Still need to worry about recovery, but that isn't exactly a difficult part to figure out. So yeah, that's pretty much it as far as that goes, and I'm excited to see what we can get up to with new classes and in the new league and with the new Keystones. I'm excited for new Atlas strategies, especially like Expedition. Yeah, I take that early, and I'm going to pick up that Keystone for sure. Anyways, voice is cracking. I've been talking for way too long because I did live reactions to stuff earlier, so if you like this video and want to see more, thanks for watching this far. First of all, it's been almost half an hour. And subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you next time. Any support is greatly appreciated. See ya.